Hi everyone. Just so you know, this is the Sonex white paper. I've just come from South Africa, so the interest of my luggage allowance, I didn't bring a copy for everyone, but my business card is on all your tables, so, and it's on the sunexchange.com/token to get the white paper. Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Abraham Cambridge from the Sun Exchange, and we are monetizing sunshine. Now, when Satoshi Nakamoto wrote the Bitcoin white paper, it was done so because he wanted to levelize, or they wanted to levelize and restart the financial sector, basically to create a whole new revolution in the financial world. But whilst our planet is still powered by centralized electricity generation, particularly from fossil fuels, we still live practically in the Victorian era. Now, Sun Exchange is converting photons to electrons to crypto to create solar-powered money. The long-term vision is basically a bank of the 21st century that's backed by distributed solar energy assets located in the sunniest places on Earth. Now, something really incredible has actually happened in our world. We've now crossed a threshold where we can produce electricity cheaper from the sun than we can through burning fossil fuels. I mean, that is a fundamental breakthrough in our civilization. But unfortunately for most people, they can't own solar panels because they live in apartments, they have a rented accommodation, or they live in countries like the UK where it's not really economically advantageous to own a solar panel unless there's a subsidy in place which can be removed at any point. And that's unfortunate because a well-optimized commercial solar energy plant, such as those we offer through our marketplace, can yield between a 10 and 20% IRR, and that's reliable with a high probability of return. So those people at the moment can't own solar panels until now through Sun Exchange. Sun Exchange is a marketplace where anyone in the world can buy solar panels that are installed into commercial and industrial scale solar projects located in the sunniest places on Earth, and from them earn a rental income stream paid in Bitcoin. Now, how it works is we've actually broken down the solar panel ownership to a single solar cell. So you may consider it solar panel real estate. Increments of around $5 per cell. They get installed into a project of their choice. I'll give you a demo in a moment. And those are leased in a 20-year lease contract to the end electricity consumer, which is going to be an industrial, commercial electricity user, such as a mine, factories, schools, hospitals, anything in the built environment. We're not talking about utility scale solar because that's still centralized. So who our consumers are, we put solar panels in emerging markets, people where there's a demand and a need for electrification. We're not talking about retrofitting existing grids like the UK and Germany into solar, because that's a persuasion and environmental reasons. This is pure economics. Like, we can give you cheaper electricity upfront instantly than you wait for transmission systems to come in. And who's buying the solar projects? Well, anyone living in any city, anywhere in the world, lives in apartments, they can now own solar panels. Funds want to invest in solar projects can now invest into banking grade, commercial scale solar projects located in the sunniest places on Earth through our platform. So here's how to solar power your money. You visit sunexchange.com, sign up, and we'll perform a quick identity check so we know who's using our platform. You choose a solar project where you want to have your solar panels leased into, and you tell us how many solar panels you want to buy. Place your order, we'll generate you an estimate of the lease rental income you'll earn throughout the duration of that project. People all around the world are buying these because we're using Bitcoin as the universal currency for doing it, and they're installed, fully insured, and we take care of all the long-term lease agreements. It's all automatic. It's a click of a button. You go to your dashboard, you can check your earnings, get your solar coin distribution as well, your SunX distribution, and you can sit back and earn monetized sunshine to wherever you are in the world. Now, this is already running. Our platform's been running now for a year and a half. And just so you know, we don't actually do the solar installations. We're the marketplace. We've partnered with some of the world's leading solar installation companies to bring us pipeline of projects, and they then go and install and operate them. Companies like IBC Solar have been operating since 1984. As long as I've been alive, these guys have been building and supplying solar plants. Solar Turtle, amazing off-grid systems. Conco, they basically built Africa's transmission system. They're one of our installation partners. And Alsa Solar, they install throughout the Middle East. Here's a picture of some of our projects, just in case you've not seen the kind of projects we're talking about. This was the world's first cryptocurrency-funded solar plant. This is through our platform in 2016, solar powering a school in Stellenbosch, a tyre recycling factory in Cape Town, an NGO doing climate change mitigation in Cape Town, elephant sanctuary, a whole microgrid powering 200 homes in Kenya by a 10-kilowatt microgrid. That was actually by PowerHive, who is one of our partners, which I'll get to in a moment. So you've probably heard a lot of energy projects, and we often ask, like, oh, Power Ledger, like WePower, it's like, you like those? Well, actually, totally not. Like, completely different projects. And actually, I call bullshit on most peer-to-peer energy trading platforms for the following reasons. Firstly, we actually enable direct ownership of solar panels, which is just it's asset leasing. It's nothing really to do with energy trading at all. And secondly, that it can be used today. Like, anyone can go to sunexchange.com, you could do it in minutes and buy a solar panel. No other energy trading platform can actually do that. And secondly, because it's asset leasing, it's a universal model. Any country in the world, you can lease a photocopier, you can lease a solar panel as well. If you go to South Africa and try asking the government to trade energy on their cables, they will walk you out the country. So all of the platforms which pertain to do peer-to-peer energy trading are totally not scalable. And those not in the energy sector just don't see that the complexity of energy regulations is probably as complex, if not more, than financial regulations. We also have a rewards program, which I'll get onto in a moment. That's our SunX token. And we also support Bitcoin. I mean, ultimately, we've got to remember that Bitcoin is the linchpin. It's the kingpin currency. If people don't support it and use it, the whole industry is basically down. Okay, so that's why we use it as the most liquid cryptocurrency. We use it as the payment system for paying out rental income. So the SunX token, this is our rewards token. So you can imagine this as like if we were an airline and we issued a new loyalty program, we're issuing our rewards token. So people are going to be earning these when they use the platform. We're selling them upfront in one go through an ICO. And why are we doing this? Well, it gives why would you want to buy the SunX token? It gives you discounts when you buy solar panels through the platform. It's stakeable into our solar project insurance fund, the world's first crypto-based solar project insurance fund for emerging markets, and you'll get paid a 20% return whilst you stake your token in that fund. It's also going to be fuel for solar cell trading. Now there's going to be a second token, which is later in the presentation, which is a security token, which actually represents the assets that can be traded. The SunX tokens are going to be required to do those trades. So here's how the rewards token works. So you will go, just as I showed you on the previous demo, but here you'll go and choose your solar panels on the rooftops around the world that you want, and you'll accumulate SunX with each purchase. Now, the rewards are actually issued specifically to encourage diversification of your solar portfolio. So regional diversification, different types of infrastructure and different power levels. Now, the more SunX you accumulate, the higher your membership tier. There's 11 tiers to work towards, and your discount level increases. You also get priority. Now, to incentivize you to hold on to your tokens and not dump them, you lose your membership tier if you sell, and you also stake them for your 20% return into the insurance fund. So we have, sorry, we've dropped to 6 there. I did this on the train this morning. So 266 million token supply, which would imply a markup of 88 million, and the ICO ends on 31st of December. Now, this is open now. It's been live for a month. So you may be thinking, okay, so 88 million, how is that actually going to be utilized? Well, there's a table in a moment, but basically, we're pre-financing solar projects for our ICO. We're actually going to be pre-building microgrids. We're actually going to be accumulating infrastructure assets. We're also going to be pre-seeding the solar project insurance fund. So that each token is $1. Now, to compare through the rewards program, you get issued one SunX for every $10 spent. So it's effectively a 90% discount through the ICO and actual acquisition price of the solar cells compared to the rewards program. Purchases over $100,000, we're offering a 40% bonus. This is OTC trades. And over $300,000 token purchase, 50% bonus. We do have a seed round open as well. So if anyone wants to do equity and token purchase, we're offering a 55% bonus. Jurisdiction is in Malta, registered as a utility token. We've already sold 2.4 million. So this just shows how the ratio of the actual distribution. So we're selling for every one token sold, we're putting some into a reserve to issue through the rewards program and some putting into the management and incentive pool with a ratio of 1.67 to 1. Assuming 100 million tokens sold through the ICO, that's all of the ICO completed. 40% goes to business development, 20% into the insurance fund, 26% into a solar project pre-finance, token sale expenses 4%, estimated taxes at 30%, and then R&D into rural infrastructure projects at 6%. Just to compare how 20% staking compares to some of the other top staking tokens, I mean, compare this to Dash and Neo, 5.5% payout when you stake your Neo, you're getting a 20% return when you stake your SunX. Where we are on the timeline, the company was formed in 2014 in October through the Microsoft BizSpark program in Cape Town. Our first project went live August 2016, subsequently did another 5 solar projects since then, and then we launched the Sonex pre-sale last September, and the ICO ends this December. The Solar Project Insurance Fund goes live Q1 next year, and the Lightning network goes live Q2. Now, Lightning is important for us because we're using Bitcoin payments. Now, our goal is to be able to stream the monetized sunshine in real time, so that you're getting this stream of sunlight money 24 hours a day. And that's why we're encouraging people to put their solar panels around the world. And that's why Lightning is important. And then Q3 is the tokenization of the solar cell. So when the solar cell becomes a crypto asset in its own right, who owns that crypto asset gets the yield. And that's coming next. And that's the SunEC token. And that's, I'm not going to go too much detail because that's not for sale today. It's not live. It's the utility token we're selling today. And that's it. Oh no, there was a video, but I'm going to skip that for the purpose of time. We've got 6,500 members on the platform. We've got 55,000 live solar cells in operation. We've raised 1.4 million pre-seed investment, 150 megawatts of solar projects in the pipeline. We've already generated 240 megawatt hours of electricity. We've got Boost VC as an angel investor, Kalon Ventures, Network Society Ventures are our institutional investors. Alphabet, Binary Financial, through consortium, have through a syndicate in UAE, have bought into our token sale, and Techstars are an investor, and we've also a Techstars graduate. Partners, we partnered with Barclays Bank, trialling this our solar project financing in East Africa. Energy Web Foundation, as part of the Rocky Mountain Institute, we're trialling their, it's called the Web of Origin app, so recording the solar asset onto the blockchain, so standardization of proving an asset exists, and we're one of the companies working with RMI on that. We're also working with Rootstock. We're doing a pilot with Rootstock to do smart contracts of the automatic revenue distribution on the Bitcoin blockchain. This is something that we are working on with them as a first proof of concept for actual sidechain Bitcoin transactions, and we are also listed on Bancor. We're also doing projects in Eastern Europe through the UNDP. I'm the CEO, been involved in the solar industry for 10 years. Larry Temlock, he's been in asset finance, he's a financial engineer, he's worked for JP Morgan, Merrill Lynch, you name it, he's been involved, he's our CFO. Lisa Lin has been overseeing development software for 30 years and has done several exited several companies worth many, many millions. John Wallace, our Chief Sales Officer, was a founding partner of Accenture, and Lawrence Conser heads up our dev team, of which we've got 6 full-time devs in Joburg. Our advisors, Max Kaiser, Stacey Herbert, which I'm sure you're familiar with. Our advisors, Michael Turpin, of course, David Orban, one of the first person to ever buy Ethereum, is our Sonex token investor, and Danny Kennedy is the president of the California Clean Energy Fund. So there we are, that's Sun Exchange. As you can see, we're a mission-driven, world-changing organization. We encourage you to all to look into what we're doing so we can monetize sunshine and create a solar-powered money system. Thank you. There's the URL, sunexchange.com, and if you want to check out our Telegram channel, there it is.
And I think Max is an investor too, right?
Yeah, we're talking, Heisenberg Capital.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So questions, and please use the microphone to ask them.
Curtis, before joining us, what is the, how long is the video for? Can you maybe play it?
Yeah.
How long is it?
It's about 2 minutes, maybe less. We can play it.
Yeah. It would be nice to see.
Okay, sure. Do we have sound?
Yes. Yep.
Sound and sunshine.
Sound?
Each Sonex token is linked to an actual solar cell in a Sun Exchange solar power plant. It could be powering a school, a factory, or a whole community in one of our rural microgrids. For each Sonex token purchased, you own the solar cells it represents. Unlike most digital tokens, Sonex represents a physical object, so there's a minimum value, and they are tied to an ongoing revenue stream. Sun Exchange is equipping its solar power plants with additional pay-for-use services, such as provision of internet access, water purification, and cryptocurrency mining, all powered by your solar cells. As rental income accumulates, you will gain ownership of more solar cells at no additional cost. This compounding effect will drive continual economic and environmental transformation. The simple act of purchasing Sonex in this token sale event will have a ripple effect into the coming decades as whole industries and nations become solar powered because of your involvement today. This is your chance to own an ever-growing part of the planet's clean energy infrastructure. Sunex tokens will be tradable on major cryptocurrency exchanges, so you can cash in the value of your Sunex token and solar cells. First participants are rewarded with an up to 40% bonus. That means 40% more tokens to reward you for your early participation. The earlier you join, the higher the bonus. Be part of the future crypto solar-powered world. Join Sun Exchange today.
So yeah, that was the video for the security token, not the utility token, just so you know. So yeah, this gentleman here did have a question.
Yeah, what are the total expenses of your actual ICO? You said 3%.
Yeah, I think it's around that.
Wouldn't it be cheaper to do an IPO? Then just airdrop the tokens if you need some sort of utility. Why incur the extra costs?
Well, we want to grow our crypto community. Don't forget, for every person who buys into our cryptocurrency, they become a Sun Exchange user. When we set out, we had a number of objectives. We want to grow the number of users using the platform. We're going to create a rewards token, which is also a cryptocurrency. It supports the industry we're working in. So doing an IPO, we wouldn't have achieved those objectives. Does that answer your question?
Just seems an expensive way to raise money. Sorry, I come from an old-fashioned background.
Yeah, well, we want to get people around the world to buy into this. So we're exploring Asia, America, Australia. It costs money to go and communicate this platform around the world.
I'd say that's an estimate too, correct?
Yeah, it's an estimate. Yeah, I'm trying to go back to that slide. Anyway, so let's move on to another question. Sir.
Plus, also this one, unlike an IPO, does not give up equity.
Yeah.
I saw that Malta charges 30% of tax.
No, that
indirectly. But this can't.
No, we've created a budget for tax because as we build solar power plants into some jurisdictions, there's import duties on building solar. So we have an allowance for paying tax not just for the ICO, but tax for all tax for the company when we're building out solar power plants.
I believe Malta's 5%, and you can get rebates against that.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. Malta has more double taxation rules anywhere else in the world. It's probably
that is why I was surprised, because I know the Maltese tax regulations fairly well. So,
like for example, if you're going to import solar panels into the United States from China now, there's a pretty heavy duty. So we've got to make sure we've got a budget to make sure that our solar projects can be distributed globally at a reasonable rate, regional price.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but Malta is where the ICO is being done. Your operations and the solar panels are not going to be out of Malta. This is where the ICO is.
Our token jurisdiction is Malta. Our main company, our holding company, is in Delaware. We also operate out of Johannesburg. All our dev team is in Joburg. I'm based in Cape Town.
And obviously Malta is because of the new laws that have a very good regulation and jurisdiction surety for cryptocurrency. In fact, just last week they passed on July 4th sweeping final laws that were set in practice, and there's a conference that some of the folks here are going to be presenting at Coin Agenda next on Sunday in Malta.
I'm looking forward to it.
Banking already for ICOs just last week.
I'm sorry?
They accepted banking for ICOs last week.
Okay, that's good news.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said at the very start, I mean, our ultimate vision is that this is going to be a solar bank.
Yeah.
At the moment, our main market is this is an alternative to putting solar panels on the roof of your own home. Don't put them on the roof of your own home where they're going to be covered in cloud most of the year. Put them on a sunlit roof powering a mine in South Africa, getting higher yield, 4 times the carbon emissions saved than it would be in the UK. So that's our market. But ultimately, when we've got such a distributed, diverse pool of solar assets, actually it's better off putting your money in Sun Exchange than it is holding it in a bank.
Can you give some indication if someone puts $100,000 worth of cryptocurrency into this? What sort of return?
Yeah, so the current solar project right now is for a plastics recycling factory in Cape Town. That's a 15% IRR at a P75, like 75% probability. Because don't forget, the yield's all coming from sunshine. So it depends on the solar variability, but that's why we put solar projects in South Africa where you've got very high solar resource. You're talking double the sunlight in South Africa than here in the UK. That's why we put them there. and it's also a coal-fired grid. So I mean, what Sun Exchange is becoming is also this hub of, like we already provide a Bitcoin wallet and a SolarCoin wallet and a SunX wallet. And people are using Sun Exchange. This is the first time they've ever used cryptocurrency. This is an on-ramp into crypto. 75% of our customers, this is the first time they've ever used cryptocurrency, but they need to receive Bitcoin because it's the only way we're sending the money around the world to the owners. So we can also put in a carbon credit module. So any of the carbon cryptocurrencies that you're familiar with, we could put a wallet onto the dashboard so customers can basically start collecting cryptos for any reward for owning clean energy assets, because we have the evidence they own it.
Only Bitcoin or Ethereum as well?
Well, Bitcoin is the most liquid cryptocurrency, so we tie up with cryptocurrency exchanges in each jurisdiction where we work. So in South Africa, it's Luno. The #1 most liquid cryptocurrency in South Africa is Bitcoin. So until Bitcoin is displaced as the most liquid currency, we're going to use it. Obviously, our ERC20 currency for SunX is on Ethereum, but the platform itself uses Bitcoin. And that's why we're working with Rootstock to enable sidechain scaling for the automated revenue distribution, where each solar project becomes a DAO. When we demoed this in Johannesburg a year and a half ago, actually each solar project is its own distributed autonomous organization that manages its own operation, maintenance, and payouts on the Bitcoin blockchain.
The staking you said is 20%?
Yeah, 20% return for the staking.
And then, but what, you said that's for the insurance pool.
Right.
So
correct.
How does the claims work against that
so yeah,
and the arbitration?
Thank you for asking for that. It's in detail in the white paper, so I'm not going to deflect and pop you off onto the white paper, but in a nutshell, it's a very specific type of insurance, which is in the event of a consumer lease default, it covers the cost of relocating the solar facility, which is actually going to be a rare-off occurrence. And in that event happening, we will draw down from that insurance fund. But bearing in mind that our solar projects are usually capped at around 1 megawatt, which is around $1 million, the actual exposure, the actual cost of relocating that solar facility is probably going to be maximum 10% of the capex of that project, which means the actual exposure to the insurance fund is actually quite minimal. But at least that is there to cover those costs in that eventuality.
So you put it with a business, the business goes out of business.
Exactly.
And you have to move it to...
Exactly,
okay.
exactly.
Cool.
That's the last missing piece of the jigsaw, but the insurance companies
What
weren't
happens
covering.
if there's a hailstorm and...
Well, they actually test solar panels with ball bearings fired at like 200 miles an hour because they obviously need to be designed for hailstorms.
Yeah.
They are very, very strong. Now, I think the biggest threat is consumer lease default. Really, I mean, if a ball bearing or a hailstorm hits a solar panel and it breaks, it's under a guarantee. The solar panel manufacturer guarantees that solar panel for 25 years.
Where's the okay? So let's just say that something happens and they're damaged. Where do the cost of having a tech go out there replace it?
Each project has a maintenance reserve fund, so 10% of the income generated goes into the maintenance reserve with each ring-fenced legal entity for each project, and that's drawn down from to cover any maintenance costs that aren't covered from the guarantees and insurance. And the IRR I just described, that's net of the maintenance reserve and insurance.
Cool.
So what happens to the balance of the 10% that hasn't been used up because...
What, in the insurance fund?
No, in the maintenance fund.
What
happens to balance those
that'll
monies?
get distributed to the solar panel owners at the end of the lease.
For that particular people that have bought those particular solar panels on that project?
Yes. Yeah.
So quite obviously, quite simply, when the sun goes down, there's no use for the solar panels.
Correct.
What storage facilities, energy storage units have you got in place in order for those issues which will arise?
Don't need them because the projects that we work with are already grid connected. So we're putting our solar projects on the customer's side of the meter. So they're using the solar power during the daytime, and at night time they're still using the grid.
So there's no form of curtailing at all in any part of this solar?
No curtailing, no batteries. It keeps the cost down. Also makes sure that the systems can be installed instantly. They're already grid-tied systems. In the event of our off-grid system is a lead-acid battery bank.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who are you using for that?
That is Trojan.
Okay.
Trojan batteries. But our solar panel installation partners, they do the procurement. We do all the checking. Just so my background's actually in solar project due diligence. I've been in Sonatry for 10 years. I used to work for DNVGL doing bankability checks on solar projects. So I know how to appraise and assess solar projects. So we're basically doing a banking grade solar project due diligence on every solar project that comes on our platform. Even a 20 kilowatt school has been vetted by solar engineers for all of these characteristics.
Well, I can certainly see a secondary market on the energy storage there, especially looking at case or hydrogen hub storages.
Yeah, definitely. And what's great about that is it can be retrofitted.
Yeah.
So you can come along later and put the storage facility in once the technology and the economics make it justifiable.
So in theory, are you saying that the solar panel and the energy exchange you're putting in place, could it work in partnership with an energy storage service as well? So you could have other contributors to that network?
Yes, you could, indeed. So especially in the microgrids, you could have households which are buying electricity during the daytime and they could be selling it to their neighbours. But that's where platforms like Power Ledger come into play. Because they're trading energy that already exists. What Sun Exchange exists for is getting that infrastructure to exist in the first place. Like we're dealing with the deficit of energy. Energy trading platforms deal with the surplus. And that's if the energy grid operator gives them permission to trade and allow people to sell energy across wires. Because don't forget, whoever owns that wire can restrict and make it illegal for energy to be sold on them. So Eskom in South Africa would never allow anyone to trade energy peer-to-peer. It's totally against their principles. They've got the monopoly.
South Africa is subject to capital controls.
Yeah.
How does a offshore investor get their money out if they invested and bought one of these?
Bitcoin.
So Bitcoin is used for that,
Yeah.
and doesn't that break some kind of like
No.
South African?
No, South Africa's actually got the highest penetration rate of Bitcoin usage in the world per capita. Now, the exchange banks and the controls in South Africa, they're working with the exchanges because they're actually demonstrating, and platforms like Sun Exchange exist actually the use case of this. Like we're actually bringing direct foreign investment into South Africa, creating jobs, building clean energy infrastructure, and then paying out over very extended periods of time. So that's actually that's being held up as a flagship for actually the kind of innovation which the government is actually encouraging. Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.